Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. The controller of budget, Madam Margaret Nyakango, is raising a very serious and shocking alarm that amid all the financial difficulties that we are going through, the National Treasury continues to misuse money without following the law on public expenditure as is required by our constitution. You'll know that when we promulgated the 2010 constitution, there were two offices that were created to check on government expenditure. And that is the Office of the Controller of Budget and that of the Auditor General. Because under the old constitution, the executive used to waste taxpayers' money without any accountability. And that is what prompted these two offices to be created. And they are offices that are maintained by taxpayers' money. Now, Madam Nyakango is saying that under the Public Finance Management Act, it is required that all the government departments and state departments, ministries, and county offices must submit their budget to the controller of budget before any expenditure goes through, because the controller of budget is the one that is supposed to look at them with a fine-tooth comb to find out whether the money is being used properly. Now, the National Treasury, in full knowledge of what is supposed to be done, continues to put to expenditure taxpayers' money without following that law. And Nyakango is saying that a whopping 15 billion Kenya shillings are feared to be misused because the National Treasury did not follow the law. And I hope that by now you understand that National Treasury and the executive is almost the same thing, because the CS will always act in accordance to what the president wants. So in a sense, this is another corruption in the making. And this is very shocking because Kenyans are really grappling with the financial challenges. The government has always told us that even the reason why they raised taxes on fuel is because the government needs money to give us services, something that we agree with. But do you remember that very many financial experts had questioned the security of our money when the government proposed the taxation, what they call the housing taxes, the 1.5% that you are supposed to be taxed, and then over some years you will get a house. The financial experts were questioning that there is a lot of money that is going into a pool and it will be in the hands of a few people. And they were questioning how safe is our money, because we have a history of a very corrupt regime. And you see, this information is not coming from an opposition leader. If it was Raila that had come out with it, or someone from the ODM or Azimio, then you would see people like Dennis Itumbi and the entire Kenya Kwanza regime coming full-blown and blaming the opposition for not being insensitive. This is the controller of budget who is doing her work. And this is not the first time the controller of budget is raising such an alarm. Sometimes back, she made claims to the effect that towards the end of 2022, the former Treasury boss, Ukur Yatani, was like compelling her to give the green light to expenditure of some irregular money that she didn't understand. And there were some irregular payments that were paid out to suppliers. And later, even the deputy president came out and told us that some money were stashed into boxes and they ran away with it. And this is really very alarming, and Kenyans are really reacting to this story with a lot of pain and anger. Why do you think the government is using this money without following the law? And it is coming at a time when just yesterday, Kenyans were treated to news that the office of the First Lady flew all the way from Nairobi to invite a foreign preacher. And the crusade that they're about to make is going to be sustained and funded by state's money. And one would be forgiven to start thinking that maybe these are the places where our money goes, because if a government decides to go and withdraw money without subjecting it to scrutiny from the office of the control of budget, then it means that there is something that they are hiding. So one of the places where I may think that this money is going is places like inviting preachers and maintaining them. We also have a situation where every Sunday we have a whole government organizing for interdenominational prayers. I dare think that this is where our money is being spent. But it's also very funny that we have a regime that feels that since they're in power, they can suspend the law and do whatever they want. We've had these sentiments that everyone should keep quiet and let William Ruto rebuild the economy, that we don't have any authority to talk about building the economy, because, for example, they say that once the opposition was defeated, they should now let the government to rule, to use their policies. But the policies and the plans are not working. They continue to be injurious to the very patient Kenyans who want to give this administration time. The government has continued to criticize the former regime that they were misusing state officers. An example that I have given, that the former CS Treasury Okuriyatan forced or attempted to force the control of budget to withdraw or to put her signature into withdrawal of monies that were suspected to be going to individual pockets. But it is the same thing that they seem to be doing now. There is no difference, because I thought that William Ruto had an opportunity to correct what he had complained about, what he thought was not going wrong, was not going right in the previous regime. So they are now repeating the same things. Kenyans are really tired of this kind of news, because just a few days ago, the chief economic advisor of the Kenya Kwanza team, David D, had told us that money is going into wastage, and it is like he had given up, telling us that there's nothing he can do. And I told you that David D knows very well what he's doing. He's communicating to us in a way that will not put him at loggerheads with the government that is working for. And of course, that is also another reason why I like Moses Kuria. He speaks it the way it is, because even though we would like to pretend that this is not the situation, it is what it is, because there is a lot of government wastage. The control of budget is saying that she proposes two things. Number one, that we should separate finance function from the National Treasury, so that they don't have, a hand in your money, hard-earned tax that you work for. And number two, she's saying that there should be prompt uploading of budget and annual procurement plans into the integrated management information system that is already there, so that we don't have to wait for all these approvals. So as we speak, ladies and gentlemen, maybe we are waiting for another bombshell, because we are not talking of millions, we are talking of billions of shillings that are going into people's pockets. And you wonder, where exactly are we headed? Maybe this is the reason why we need an evangelist to caution Kenyans, because we have a regime that acts with a lot of impunity, and Nyakango is simply washing her hands, because a time will come for accountability, and she doesn't want to be accused. She has given this to Kenyans. Whatever you do with that information is yours, so that you will not tell her that we gave you the powers Why didn't you become a whistleblower? Now she is a whistleblower. Should anything happen, then you will not blame her. I don't know what you think, but that is my take.